The construction industry added 121,000 jobs last year, but that same industry will need another 650,000 in 2022 just to keep up with demand, according to Associated Builders and Contractors. At the rate the industry's been hiring lately, demand is likely to outpace labor supply by a long shot. Contractors are stepping up their recruiting, training, and career development approaches to remain competitive. McCarthy Building Companies, which has been around for 150 years, has gone through numerous labor ebbs and flows. Joining us to discuss his firm's strategies for finding and keeping skilled workers is Ben Craigs, its Director of Talent Acquisition. Hi, Ben.
Hi, John. Good to be with you.
Thanks for joining us. Ben, let's start off by getting McCarthy's vantage about what the job market looks like right now. Well, is your hiring keeping up with demand?
Yeah. So far we've been a combination of very fortunate as a result of a lot of planning and strategy, and also a bit lucky, right? In the sense that being an institutional name in construction, we've been able to draw out a lot of talent. In terms of just our view on the job market, I get asked this a lot. I think the best word I've been able to come up with is frantic. It's a unique combination that I don't know if we have precedent for, which is sort of a post-COVID hangover, right? Where candidates' motivations and their calculations about career decisions just changed, and maybe their lifestyles changed. And then coming out of that, pent-up demand and reduced supply, we now have folks that are processing through inflationary pressures, relocation pressures, things like that. So we've seen tough environments before, so this is certainly nothing new to us. But I would say it's probably unique in the sense that you just have a bunch of pressures around supply and demand and candidate motivations all kind of happening at once.
Mm-hmm. McCarthy's recruitment strategy includes involvement with local youth, but survey after survey keeps telling us that younger people are not interested in the construction as a career. So what are you doing to change their minds?
Yeah, so good question. I would say there's a couple things, right? And McCarthy, along with some of our we'll call it our industry fellows and competitors, right, are putting together a brain trust just to kind of solve the long generational challenge, right, that you might see here. So one of the things we've tried to do early on, right, is start to engage people as early as possible in their career. So our craft recruiting team does a lot of outreach work to trade technical schools, both at the high school and the early college level, down to early high school, right? Just to talk about a career in construction, what that can mean, what that can lead to. And then we're trying to put together a value proposition for candidates that I think is unique in the sense that, you have a good story to tell when you've survived 155 plus years through multiple economies, multiple, war, conflicts, recessions, right? This stability piece that construction can add to someone's career, I think is really, really important. And we're trying to diversify, right? We're trying to get more diverse voices and a wider, diverse candidate pool interested in construction by just looking in places we haven't looked, talking to people that probably haven't been talked to as much as they should have about a career in construction or trades or a STEM-related career. So, we're hunting in every open field we can find.
Mm-hmm. To the point about diversity, I'm sure you, like other construction companies, are kind of reaching out to women and minorities. What kind of luck have you had in attracting those groups to either construction jobs or management jobs?
Yeah, hopefully it's not too much luck as it is like we've tried to really have an intentional approach to getting our unique value proposition into those candidates' hands, in front of their eyes, right, to talk about what specifically it can mean to them. So sometimes you have to meet people where they're at. One of the things we've been really successful at doing is internally creating for example, our McCarthy Partnership for Women, right, which is a lot of our female employees coming together, one, to network with each other, and then network outside of our company to kind of leverage their networks and talk about their experiences as a female in construction, what it looks like, what the work-life balance looks like, and the multiple career paths, you end up having to do a lot of education in this process about, it doesn't always mean your hard hat vest on a project, right? There might be a career in pre-construction, in planning and design. There might be a career in support services, and then certainly careers in the operations space. So we feel really good about what the progress we've been able to make, and then having this specific focus on DE&I, both in our recruiting efforts and also in our just generally in our employee engagement efforts, I think is starting to early to show some real results in terms of the amount of people we're able to get into the organization and then what we're able to do for them once they're here.
Are you finding that this diversity is mostly workers in the field, or is it mostly workers in the office?
No, I would say it's a pretty decent mix, right? It's a pretty decent mix. You're going to see our goal, right, is to increase our diverse ranks in every job category, right? Up through general labor, right, up through executive leadership of the company, and so we're seeing it across multiple categories. For us and our team, what we really want to focus on is engaging those diverse populations at the collegiate level in particular. And once they kind of hit that entry level starting point of their career, there's so many different paths they can take. And so as time goes on, you're going to see those diverse ranks just get into, again, the design and pre-construction side, safety, scheduling, operations management, field quality roles, field superintendent roles. So we're starting to see a really nice mix of those folks in different positions, which we're excited about.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about McCarthy's Innovation and Craft Workforce Training Center, and that provides craft training and hands-on technical training and skill development.
Yeah.
Is this an apprentice program, or does it go beyond that? I mean, tell me a little bit about how this works.
Yeah, so it's a little different than an apprentice program. A lot of our apprenticeship programs happen on the job, right, on a project site. We've got an incredible craft training team and craft recruiting team that is specifically and only dedicated to finding those folks, getting them on our projects, and then training them at the job site level, because we feel like there's no replacement for that. Where this center comes in is as a supplemental effort, right? I mean, it's a building, right, in Chandler, Arizona, where we can start not just for ourselves, but for our trade partners, for our clients, and then for our local educational partners, in high school up through technical and even college, is be able to provide training opportunities that are classroom based in that facility to a large degree, but also skills based, right? As we've been building out space where we can have room for skill development, right? They can see what it's like to improve and implement those skills on a job site. But really, there's no replacement, right, for on-the-job training and experience and our on-the-job craft apprenticeship programs, which we think are really, really great.
With the people that participate or go into through the training center, is there a time period of the training, and are they guaranteed a job if they pass something? I mean, is there a cause and effect relationship here in terms of training somebody and then hiring them?
Yeah, good question. So I would say the time period is kind of TBD as we finish out that center and finish out the scope of work and getting it ready to be fully operational. I think sometimes that time-bound training really is dependent upon what we're trying to achieve in that classroom, right? So certainly, I mean, all training to some degree is time-bound, and so we really want to focus on less the time and more the skill we want them to learn about or be educated about on site. And that, yeah, certainly, like as we have folks that go through a job site apprenticeship program, a craft training program, or engage at those facilities, I would say for everybody that I always hesitate to use the word guarantee because that's a pretty firm word. But I will tell you, it is absolutely the intent of that program to pipeline talent into the business, and we're going to give folks every opportunity, right, to engage in meaningful work on our projects. So I would say a year from now we'll have a much better sense of that as the center becomes fully operational. And look, best case state is we might have some craft training and development with a local trade school that has them training in particular trades that we may not be employing at the time at certain job sites, but then we know we have somebody that's been trained, been a part of us, and so that might lead to future work for them, just depending on what they want to do with their career.
Mhm. You mentioned at the beginning of our conversation that the job market is frantic, and that McCarthy and other firms have been talking to each other about what the industry can do as a whole to attract more people to it, and to, present it as a career as instead of just a job. What do you think the industry still needs to be doing? I mean, I have this conversation a lot with contractors I talk to, and everybody's doing a lot of things, but it doesn't always seem to be sticking, and I'm just wondering, is there an X factor here that needs to elevate the industry to some extent? I mean, or are the circumstances such that what you're doing is about where the most you can?
Yeah, I think I think there's an element to that latter part of that when you just look at the supply and demand gap on skilled trade talent, yeah, there's certainly an element like, hey, we're going to do everything we can, and we hope we're super successful. Here's what I mean, and I'll give you my myopic view on this, right? As a talent acquisition professional in this space, look, I think the connecting with people on sort of a story-based level, and what I mean by that, right, is laying out and mapping out the immense amount of satisfaction and just social good that can come out of doing this type of work, right? We talk a lot about changing skylines in cities, building out critical infrastructure and renewable energy, and so that's solar work, water, wastewater, right? I'm hopeful, and I don't have anything to back this up, but I'm hopeful, right, mm-hmm. that we're going to come on the other side of this bell curve where, for such a long time, it's careers in tech, it's careers in sales, it's Silicon Valley based stuff that a lot of certainly millennials and now Gen Z are going after. But there might be a snapback effect, right, where we all of a sudden realize, boy, we have a lot of updating to our infrastructure that needs to happen in the country. We have a lot of modernizing, right? And a lot of these kids are going to be able to write their own ticket, right? If they're flexible and able to go where the work's at. So I think we need to do a better job of just telling the story of what a career in construction can look like. Mm-hmm. And that's a fanciful answer, right? But I think the overall marketing, right, to that population on what this work is really about, look, I think that can probably improve, and I think it can always improve, right? But I think we have to cut through a lot of noise and be able to tell the real story of what someone can achieve in this type of career. So that's a long-term play. In the short term, I think all the things that we're doing, our competitors are doing, I think will get us to a place of a lot of progress. But we're going to have to continue to have the long-term focus if we want to solve this, generationally, right? So when my kids are graduating college in 10 years or so, that we're in a much better spot.
Mm-hmm. And thanks for taking a couple minutes of the time to talk to us about what McCarthy's strategy is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's good to be with you and really appreciate what you guys are doing, and happy to chat anytime. Thanks for the opportunity.
And thanks to our audience for joining us. This is John Caulfield from Building, Design, and Construction.